The events in Eastern Europe ended up motivating many republics of the USSR to do the same. In January of 1990, there were protests in the Azerbaijan SSR. Now, Gorbachev sent tanks to control the situation, but it actually made the situation much worse. There was a whole massacre, and even to this day, it's remembered as Black January by the Azerbaijanis. This was followed by Lithuanian SSR declaring independence on the 11th of March the same year. And then Latvia and Estonia also followed on May 4 and 8 respectively. The next year, on 9th of April, Georgian SSR also declared independence. And then came the August coup. Now, what happened was that communist hardliners led by Prime Minister Pavlov and Marshal Yazov seized power while Gorbachev was away on holiday in Moscow. However, the public actually opposed the tanks in Moscow, and Boris Yeltsin became a rising star. And Gorbachev, although he refused to resign when he was ordered to do so, and he even returned to Moscow after the coup failed, his significance was now lost. Yeltsin was, becoming the more significant guy, and at this point, many people had realized that the USSR did not have a future anymore. Four republics ended up declaring independence in August, like the same August when this coup happened. Ukraine, Belarus, Moldavia, which is now Moldova, and Kyrgyz SSR, which is now Kyrgyzstan. Then in September, three more republics left: Uzbek, Tajik, and Armenian republics, which are now Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and Armenia. October saw another two republics leave: Azerbaijan SSR, which became the Republic of Azerbaijan, and Turkmen SSR, which became Turkmenistan. Now only the Kazakh and Russian republics remained. On the 8th of December, the leaders of Russia, Ukraine, and Belarus signed the Belovezha Accords, which is famously known as the Minsk Agreement. Now, this agreement recognized the independence of the republics that were once part of the Soviet Union, and it created Commonwealth of Independent States (CIS) to replace the USSR. Now, CIS is sometimes also known as the Russian Commonwealth because all the states that were part of Soviet Union before that they were part of Russian Empire. On 12th of December, Russia also left the USSR led by its first and only president Boris Yeltsin. Now only Kazakhstan remained for 4 days. On 16 December, the Kazakh Republic also leaves the Soviet Union. Now, technically, by this point, the Soviet Union is a state without any territory. On the 21st of December, the Alma-Ata Protocol was signed by all the leaders of republics that were once part of the USSR. It was signed in the city of Alma-Ata, which is now Almaty in Kazakhstan, and the most important part of the agreement is that it's confirmed that USSR no longer exists and CIS is successor to the USSR. And in an interview, Gorbachev said he will also resign as soon as the CIS becomes a reality. Then, on Christmas night in 1991, for the last time, the Soviet flag was lowered from the Kremlin in Moscow, and the Russian flag was raised. The next day, the Soviet parliament voted to dissolve itself, and the Cold War and USSR both had ended. Thank you for watching.